Hello everyone, let us discuss some important results and problems on limits. So in earlier classes we have solved problems using L'Hospital rule, but for every problem you cannot apply L'Hospital rule, because when the denominator contains x square, x cube, x raised to 4, then it is not easy to get those terms differentiated 4 times or 5 times. So let me discuss some important problems which are already there in JEE mains and some important problems for upcoming JEE using some important results. So let me discuss the result first. The result is limit of x tends to 0, 1 minus cos x divided by x square is equals to 1 by 2. Already we have solved this problem using L'Hospital rule. So again I will explain that L'Hospital rule in this problem. This is new derivative of the numerator will be sin x minus cos x, derivative will be sin x, derivative of the denominator will be 2x, and again it is 0 by 0 form. Therefore if you differentiate it, derivative of sin x will be cos x divided by derivative of 2x will be 2. Now if you apply limit of x tends to 0, it will be cos 0 divided by 2, it will be 1 by 2. You need to remember this result in such a way that limit of x tends to 0, 1 minus cos of something divided by its square, as it is tending to 0, is equals to 1 by 2. Let me repeat this result again. Limit of 1 minus cos of something divided by its square, as that something is tending to 0, is equals to 1 by 2. Then we can solve many tough problems in a very easy manner. Okay, so let me move into problems. So limit of x tends to 0, 1 minus cos 4x divided by x square as x tends to 0. Now this one is limit of 1 minus cos 4x divided by, so I said 1 minus cos of something divided by its square, therefore it should be 16x square here, because we have 4x in place of that x, into this 16x square means x square was already there, but 16 is extra term, therefore you need to consider into 16 as x tends to 0. Now this standard limit, this limit is 1 by 2, because limit of cos of 1 minus something divided by its square will be 1 by 2. So it is 1 by 2 into 16 is equals to 8. Therefore option A will be the correct answer. So again I am making use of that limit of x tends to 0, 1 minus cos x divided by x square is equals to 1 by 2 result. Okay. So let us move into next problem. So this is limit of x tends to 0, 1 minus cos of 1 minus cos x. So here in place of x we have 1 minus cos x, therefore divided by 1 minus cos x whole square. This will be extra term, therefore to balance that let me consider 1 minus cos x whole square in the numerator also, divided by, so x raised to 4 was already there. Okay, now this limiting value is equals to how much? Already we have discussed, this is equals to 1 by 2, and I can write limit of x tends to 0, 1 minus cos x divided by x square the whole square. This numerator can be written as 1 minus cos x divided 1 minus cos x, and denominator will be x raised to 4 is x square the whole square, is equals to 1 by 2 into, this limit is already discussed, this is 1 by 2, therefore its square will be 1 by 4, hence the answer will be 1 by 8. So if you apply L'Hospital rule, it will be very complicated problem, but using this particular result it will be very easy problem. Let's move into next problem. Limit of x tends to 0, tan x minus sin x divided by x cube. Okay, again limit of x tends to 0, tan x is sin x divided by cos x minus sin x divided by x cube. Therefore, we can take sin x outside from numerator. I will not write this limit of x tends to 0. It will be there in up to last step, but in this competitive exams it is not necessary to write those values after every steps, okay, because it will be time consuming. Let me consider sin x outside. If I take sin x outside, then numerator will be 1 minus cos x, because this cos x will be LCM before taking this sin x. Therefore, that LCM will be in the denominator x cube into cos x. Okay. Now, here in this result, let me rearrange this one as sin x divided by x into 1 minus cos x divided by x square into 1 by cos x. Limit of x tends to 0 will be outside. Okay. Now this is equals to, so standard limit, this is 1 into, this is already we have discussed, into 1 by 2 into, as x tends to 0, this is 1. Therefore, this is equals to 1 by 2. Hence option B. Okay, this is an important problem, and in L'Hospital rule again this problem will be very complicated, because if you differentiate tan x, then you will get secant square x, then again if you differentiate it, then it will be a composite function. Again you need to differentiate it because denominator is x cube. Therefore, this rule will be very useful. Only you need to remember limit of 1 minus cos x divided by x square is equals to 1 by 2. And also try to remember this result also, limit of x tends to 0, tan x minus sin x divided by x cube is equals to 1 by 2, because it will be useful for next problem. So here it is, limit of cot x minus cos x divided by pi minus 2x whole cube as x tends to pi by 2. One more important hint is, if the problem is x tends to 0, then no problem. If it is other than x tends to 0, for example, if it is x tends to a, then you consider x is equals to a plus or minus h. Okay, depending on the problem, it will be plus h or minus h, and also you need to look at that particular h value. For example, here x is tending to pi by 2. Therefore, let me consider x is equals to, in place of a we have pi by 2, and I will consider pi by 2 minus h. X is equals to pi by 2 minus h. For all those problems in which x is not tending to 0, better you substitute x is equals to a plus or minus h. In sometimes it will be plus h, sometimes it will be minus h. Here, if x tends to pi by 2, if x tends to pi by 2, h tends to what? H tends to 0. Therefore, let me rewrite this problem as a limit of h tends to 0 cot of pi by 2 minus h. So, first step, let me write all these values, then I will simplify this. Cot of pi by 2 minus h minus cos of pi by 2 minus h divided by, so here I will take 2 outside. If I take 2 outside from this cube, it becomes 8, then it will be pi by 2 minus x. Okay, so it will be pi by 2, because already I have taken 2 outside, pi by 2 minus x will be pi by 2 minus h the whole cube. Okay, now this is equals to limit of h tends to 0, cot pi by 2 minus h will be tan h minus sin h divided by, this is 8 is outside, therefore you can take that 1 by 8 outside, 1 by 8, pi by 2 get cancels, h cube. So now this is equals to 1 by 8 into, that's why I said you remember this particular result as 1 by 2. Tan x minus sin x divided by x cube as x tends to 0 is equals to 1 by 2. Now we have exactly same manner. Okay, so this is 1 by 8 into, now this will become 1 by 2. Okay, so now this is equals to, it becomes 1 by 16. Therefore the answer will be 1 by 16. So here I have make use of these previous problems, that is tan x minus sin x divided by h cube result. And also the very important aspect is, whenever it is in the form of x tends to a, we need to consider x tends to 0. Okay, this will be x tends to 0 form. So let's move into next problem. So this is an important problem, JEE 2013 and JEE 2015 problem. It is limit of x tends to 0, 1 minus cos 2x into 3 plus cos x divided by x tan 4x. Okay, so for this problem let me consider limit of x tends to 0, 1 minus cos 2x divided by, so what you should have this with this 1 minus cos 2x, you should have 4x square to convert it into standard form, but this 4x square will be extra term, therefore let me consider into 4x square divided by x tan 4x into 3 plus cos x, 3 plus cos x. Okay, now this is equals to, now I will not write the limits again and again. So this standard answer will be 1 by 2 because it is in standard form. Okay, next here we can cancel this x square and this x, therefore it is in the form of x divided by tan 4x or tan 4x divided by 4x. Okay, so otherwise you consider this 4x in the denominator, it will be tan 4x divided by 4x, that standard limit will be 1 into 3 plus cos x, as x tends to 0, cos 0 will be 1, therefore it will be 3 plus 1, 4. So this is equals to 2, 4 by 2 is equals to 2, hence option D. Again I will explain this problem. This is on the concept of limit of x tends to 0, 1 minus cos x divided by x square form. Okay, now this 1 minus cos 2x, to balance this 1 minus cos 2x, I have considered 4x square in the denominator, therefore I need to divide by 4x square and multiply by 4x square. Then this 4x square divided by x, we only remain with 4x, 4x divided by tan 4x, so which is same as tan 4x divided by 4x in the denominator. Both limits are 1, which is standard limit. Limit of tan x divided by x as x tends to 0 is equals to 1. Therefore that answer will be 1. Here if you apply x tends to 0, it becomes 4. Therefore the final answer will be 2. So next problem. So this is limit of x tends to 0, x into 1 minus square root of 1 minus x square divided by square root of 1 plus x square into sine inverse of x whole cube. And one more important hint about some limits problem is, whenever you have inverse trigonometric functions, better to substitute that inverse trigonometric function into some assumed values like t, z, or substitute it anything. Here we have sine inverse of x function, therefore let me substitute sine inverse of x is equals to t, sine inverse of x is equals to t. Then what I can write, x is equals to sine t, I can write x is equals to sine t. And also if x tends to 0, then t also tends to 0, because if x is 0, sine inverse of 0 will be 0. Now if you back substitute these values, it becomes a limit of t tends to 0. In place of x I need to write sine t into 1 minus square root of 1 minus sine square t, 1 minus sine square t divided by, it is square root of 1 plus sine square t into, this is sine inverse of x is t, t cube. Now this is equals to limit of t tends to 0, limit of t tends to 0. So here let me write this one as sine t divided by t. Denominator we have t cube, therefore initially I will consider t into t square, then 1 t will be with this sine t by t. Okay, then this term is 1 minus cos t it is. If you simplify this one, then square root of 1 minus sine square t will be cos t divided by, we have t square term. Okay, we have t square term. Okay, therefore this is also standard result. Now I am remain with 1 divided by square root of 1 plus sine square t. Okay, now I can apply limit of t tends to 0. This is equals to 1. This standard limit is 1 and this standard limit is equals to 1 by 2, because it is in the form of 1 minus cos x divided by x square into, here if you apply t tends to 0, then it is 1. Therefore answer will be 1 by 2. Okay, so today we have considered 6 problems on a single formula. That formula will be a very important formula. Okay, so thank you.